Today we are going to use the appearance panel to help add some style to our design. So this is the second project that we've done in Adobe Illustrator, and we're trying to build slowly upon the things that you've learned. So we used I'll just look here, our selection tool. We've clicked on stuff, moved it around. We've used a rectangle tool to create a solid color background, and we've used our type tool to type some basic, well, you typed your name and then changed it to a specific color. So very, very basic. So we're going to do that again, but then we're going to add effects from the appearance window, which are pretty cool, and makes it to where your text or whatever you're designing has a lot of style. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open a new document. We're going to make sure it's 11 by 17. I'm sorry, 8.5 by 11 portrait, and set to inches. So if the default is points, you're going to change points to inches. Make sure it's letter size 8.5 by 11. If you're under print, this is kind of a default like this. So you're going to go change that to inches, change CMYK and under the advanced tab to RGB, just so we can see the full range of color. Don't worry about this little warning because we're not printing these out. And then hit create. And from here, we are going to grab your rectangle tool. And you can see that I've got a bunch of tools here. I don't know if yours stayed or you went to the default basic, but we'll just change that really quick. Window, toolbars, advanced. So make sure your advanced toolbars is checked. Oh, you click it twice, it turns off. Okay, then we're going to grab your rectangle tool. And this time we're just going to single click on the page. It'll give us this window, and it's 8.5 by 11. So type in there 8.5 by 11, hit OK, which gives us, gives us a square.
Do you have this fire as well?
Yeah. I got it. Thank you. So this rectangle here, we'll just move it into place, and you can see it's white, fill, black stroke. And I want to show you how we can change it here. So right now we've got this white square active, this white fill active, and we could, use these little icons to make adjustments. If we want to do anything to the stroke, we can click on that stroke box, and that goes to the front. You see it's overlapping the fill color now. And now we can make adjustments to this. And I want to click on none. So I want to turn that stroke off. And then I'm going to go back to this fill window, click on it. So now that's forward and active. I'll just minimize that. So from here, we could do two things. Last week, we just double clicked in this window, and then we clicked on whatever color we wanted. I'm just going to cancel. This time, I want to go into our properties panel over here on the right side, click on this fill window, and we have your basic set of default swatches. So of course we can change all these. These are just kind of defaulting, but I wanted to just make sure that for today, we're just going to click on one to make it a color. Okay, so I just chose like a deep red. And we want to lock this in place so it does not move. So I've got my selection tool active. If I click on it, you can see it's got that blue bounding box around it. So it's ready for us to move around or make adjustments to. But to lock it in place, I guess I can't do, what is that lock there? No. To lock it in place, there are a couple different places we can go. So you could go to Object and then Lock, Selection, but see this guy right here, Control 2. If you're on a Mac, it's Command 2, but that is the hotkey to do that. And that's what I want you to do. So Control or Command 2 to lock that in place. Now you can see that when I try and move it around, it doesn't move. It's locked. So now that's locked in place, I want to grab your type tool. So just click your type tool, single click on the page. You can see that it's highlighted. We have that placeholder text, lorem ipsum. With the properties window open, you can see it's Myriad Pro at 12 points. So I want to do Crusher Nation. I'm going to type out Crusher and then hit enter to make a second line. Click Nation or type out Nation. And then I'm going to grab my selection tool to get that bounding box. And I'm going to click, hold, and drag. But when I do that, you can see I've got complete control and I can squish it up and make it look kind of nasty or unreadable. But if I hold shift, holding shift and dragging, you can see that it stays in proportion. So that's what I want you to do is hold shift, click drag, so it stays in proportion. Okay, from here, I want you to change the font and the color to whatever you'd like. So again, I've got lots of fonts because I've been doing this a long time and I'm on a computer that I use often. So you are not going to have the same fonts as I do, but you can still choose from your list. In a further episode of another assignment moving forward, I'll show you how to download fonts that will travel with you. So will be on any computer that you use. And I guess I'm going to use this one. So there's lots of adjustments that we could do. We'll do that at a later time because what I want to do is I want to show you the appearance panel. And this will allow us to add fill and stroke and other effects, which are kind of cool. So let's go ahead and open that up. So everyone go to Window, and then you can see we've got the appearance panel here. So Window to Appearance. We have this guy that pops open. I've got my Crusher Nation selected, so it has information there. If I click off of it, you can see that it's got some other stuff in here, but it doesn't. We're not applying this to anything because it says no selection. Click on it. It's type. The layer, I guess you could call it, is called type. And so we've got these down here. This open box, this is add new stroke. This middle one is add new fill, and this one is add new effect. So we're going to be using these guys today. First thing, let's go ahead and do a fill. As soon as you click on that, you can see that we have both fill and stroke, the layers active. Let's change the fill color. So if you click in this box, it opens up your set of swatches, and then you can click on whatever color you want. And we're going to do the same thing with stroke. So click into that open box. It becomes active. Then we can click it again to choose a color. And then next to that, we have the stroke weight. So I'm going to increase the stroke weight. You can kind of see this looks completely gross because the stroke is moving into the fill color. And this is where I want to show you how to adjust these things. So I'm just going to leave it like this. I'm going to click on the fill color again. And then I'm going to drag the fill color. So I'm clicking and holding and then dragging it. So the fill layer is above the stroke layer. And then you can see what's happening. So now the stroke layer sits behind the fill layer. And so when you increase the stroke weight, no matter how much you increase it, you'll see the fill. It doesn't change. While I have this, I made it really big so you can see the imperfections. Some fonts have these little spikes come out when you increase the stroke. And so if you click on the word stroke, you get this additional panel that pops open. And so we can make some adjustments. What I want you to do today is we'll see cap and corner, and we'll click on round cap, round corner. So if you click on both of those, it rounds everything. Those little spikes go away. And you can still go in here and make adjustments. Maybe I didn't want it so thick. That looks okay. Okay. So let me just collapse this panel. Actually, I'm going to leave it open just so you can see it. I'll move it over a little bit. So now the cool thing is if we copy and paste, so I'm just going to hit copy, Control C to hotkey, and then Control V Command if you're on the Mac. Made a copy of that. The cool thing is I'm just highlighting it with my type tool. I can type anything, vintage, and it holds whatever you did because it makes it repeatable. So you can type out whatever you want, and whatever changes you made to the fill, stroke, or effects, it will remember that and will apply to whatever you're typing. I just wanted to show you that. We don't need it. I'm just going to delete vintage. Keep Crusher Nation. Again, if you don't have it selected, you can't make any changes. So if I go over here and try to make the stroke color different, you can see that it didn't apply. It's because it's not selecting anything. So make sure that with your selection tool, you have everything selected. Now, the last thing I want is add effect. So click on the effects button, and we're going to go to warp, and we're going to go to, you can choose any one of these, I guess. I'm going to go to, let's see here, rise. No, hit cancel. Hold on a second. All right, so this is great because we're affecting the layers. So if you want to just affect a layer, then you can click on the layer and it'll affect just that one layer. If you want to select the whole thing, you can see I'm selecting now the word type up on top. And then if I go to effects, warp, rise, it affects everything. So warp, this is a pretty cool thing here. So you have these sliders and you have, so bend, you can see that I have it set to horizontal. I can set it to vertical if you want. I usually do horizontal, it just works better. And you can distort horizontal and vertical as well, like if you want to make some specific adjustments, you can. I'm going to turn those back down to 0 just to make it kind of easy, and then change the bend to 29 and hit OK. So again, this is repeatable. So if I copy and paste, I have the second set. I get my type tool. I type out vintage. It makes that same effect to whatever you're typing. And last step I want to go back to, I'm selecting it again. I'm going back to the word effects, and then we're going to go to stylize drop shadow just to add a little more style to it. And we'll just set the default here, drop shadow. Again, if you wanted to change opacity or offset, like, of course you can, but you don't have to. You know, everything is adjustable. But from here, hit OK. And this is what you're going to save. So again, we're saving it two ways. You want to save it to the cloud. So file, save as, and then make sure that you are saving to the cloud, name it. You can name it Crusher Nation. And then second time you save it, you're going to file, save as, save to your computer. And then you're going to save this as a PDF. So under save as type, change that to PDF. Save it to a place where you can get to it, because right now mine's just saving to the desktop. Yours might default to downloads or documents, so just make sure you know where it's being saved at, and then that way you know where to turn it in from. And that's it. Thank you.